You've faced the deadliest police investigation designed to break you, yet here you stand, not defeated, but stronger and more determined than ever. What you've been through was meant to crush your spirit, to silence you, but instead it forged an unbreakable resolve. You are no longer just a survivor. You've become the greatest threat the police station has ever known. Every challenge, every tactic thrown your way only sharpened your mind and hardened your will. Now, you move with a purpose and power they never saw coming. This is your moment, the rise of someone unstoppable, rewriting the rules and taking control of your own fate. Before we dive deeper, hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers, and leave a comment below for them. Your support fuels this movement and amplifies the strength behind this story. From the moment they launched their operation, it felt like descending into a nightmare crafted to strip away everything that made you who you are. This investigation was no accident. It was a calculated attempt to break your spirit, to grind you down until you crumbled under pressure. They used every trick, every psychological weapon in their arsenal to dismantle your identity. But what they didn't count on was the depth of your inner fire, the strength born from pain, defiance, and a will that refused to bend. The walls closed in quickly, suffocating and relentless. The questions were sharp, designed to cut through your defenses, and the silence around you was deafening. Yet, within that chaos, something remarkable began to emerge. You learned to read their moves before they made them, to anticipate their traps and turn their tactics against them. This was no longer a game of survival. It was a battlefield where you were rewriting the rules. What made their plan fail wasn't luck. It was your refusal to be a victim. You embraced the storm, absorbing the blows, but never allowing them to define you. With every attempt to break you, you grew more strategic, more unyielding. They believed they could crush your spirit, but all they did was forge a warrior. Theirs was a war waged against a ghost they could never catch. At first, you were on the defensive, trying to shield yourself from the relentless barrage of pressure. But survival isn't about cowering, it's about transformation. Slowly, you shed the role of the hunted and stepped into the shoes of the hunter. This was more than survival. It was a metamorphosis fueled by grit and unbreakable determination. The fear that once gripped you became a weapon, sharp and precise, used to navigate the darkness. The pivot from prey to predator is not instant. It's forged in the crucible of challenge. You learned that true power lies not in brute force, but in control. Control of your emotions, your reactions, and most importantly, your narrative. When others cracked under interrogation, you held your ground, becoming a living enigma, impossible to predict or manipulate. Your resilience made you the ultimate threat, the force that unsettled even the most seasoned interrogators. This shift changed the game entirely. You began to outmaneuver your adversaries, striking with calculated precision when they least expected it. You weren't just surviving their investigation anymore. You were dismantling it piece by piece. Your transformation was a message to the world. You are not just alive, you are unstoppable. Fear is a powerful emotion, one that can paralyze or propel you forward. In the suffocating confines of the interrogation room, fear was an unwelcome guest, yet you refused to let it control you. Instead, you chose to harness it. Each heartbeat, each tremor of anxiety became fuel for your mind, sharpening your senses and pushing you into a heightened state of awareness. Fear was no longer a weakness, but a catalyst for strategic thinking. You realized that the key to turning fear into an advantage was acceptance. You did not waste energy fighting what was natural. You acknowledged it, studied it, and redirected it. When the interrogators tried to use intimidation to break you, your fear became armor, silent but impenetrable. You let their words wash over you like a storm, unmoved, learning from every tactic they employed. This mastery over fear was revolutionary. It shifted the power dynamic. You weren't reacting blindly. You were responding with intent. Your fear transformed into clarity, a weapon hidden beneath calm exterior, giving you the edge to stay one step ahead in a game where one misstep could mean ruin. Silence can be deafening. It can fill a room with tension, confusion, and frustration. In the harsh spotlight of scrutiny, you learned that silence is not submission, it is strength. While others faltered, spilling secrets to escape the pain, you let silence be your fortress. It became a language of its own, a defiant statement, louder than any confession could be. It was a refusal to give them the power they sought, a shield crafted from patience and mental fortitude. You realize that words can be traps, carefully constructed cages waiting to be sprung. Silence, however, is a place where they cannot touch you. It unsettled your captors, turning their confidence into doubt. The weight of your silence created cracks in their strategy. It bought you time, space to recalibrate, and allowed your mind to craft the next move. Silence was no longer the absence of response. It was your most potent weapon in a battle where every word mattered. Resilience is not born in comfort. It is forged in fire. The relentless pressure of being targeted, scrutinized, and hunted could have shattered anyone's spirit. But you built mental armor, layer by layer, with every insult, every false accusation, and every moment of isolation. This armor wasn't just protection. It was a symbol of your unyielding will. Your mind became a fortress, impenetrable and calm amid chaos. You developed rituals, internal dialogues, and mental strategies to keep despair at bay. When doubt crept in, you met it with fierce self-belief. You reminded yourself that pain is temporary, but your strength is eternal. This mindset wasn't just survival, it was a rebellion against the forces trying to break you. Every test, every moment of pressure added to your resilience bank. You emerged stronger, sharper, and more prepared than ever. This mental armor was what made you untouchable, the silent shield that protected your core when everything else was under attack. The system was designed to catch you off guard, to trap you in rules and loopholes you didn't know existed. But you became a master strategist, learning the game's intricacies faster than your adversaries could adapt. You saw their moves before they made them, turning their own tactics into vulnerabilities you exploited with precision. It wasn't about breaking the rules, but mastering them, understanding the legal and psychological boundaries they believed gave them power. You used patience and intellect as your greatest allies, crafting responses and behavior that frustrated their attempts to control you. Every question, every confrontation became a calculated exchange where you held the upper hand. Your ability to outthink and outmaneuver the system wasn't just a survival tactic, it was a declaration of dominance. You showed that intelligence and calm could dismantle even the most formidable forces, proving that the strongest weapon is a mind unwilling to be broken. Betrayal cuts deeper than any physical blow. When allies turned their backs and trust was weaponized against you, the pain was unbearable. But instead of letting betrayal crush your spirit, you transformed it into the most powerful fuel for your resilience. Every act of treachery was a stark reminder of your need to stand taller and fight harder. This fire of betrayal sharpened your resolve. You became fiercely protective of your own truth and unwavering in your pursuit of justice, not just external, but internal. You refused to let those who betrayed you define your story or determine your fate. In that heartbreak, you found clarity and focus. The sting of betrayal, rather than weakening you, became the forge for your indomitable spirit. You rose from the ashes of broken trust with renewed purpose, more vigilant, more guarded, and more determined to rewrite the narrative on your terms. In moments when everything screamed for you to break, you chose calm instead. Staying composed amid chaos is an extraordinary power, one few can master, but you understood that collapse was not an option, that maintaining your equilibrium was a silent rebellion against forces trying to unravel you. Calmness gave you clarity when others were clouded by panic. It allowed you to think clearly, respond rationally, and conserve energy for battles that truly mattered. Your calm wasn't cold or indifferent. It was a deeply rooted strength that radiated from within, unshaken by external storms. By staying calm, you disarmed your adversaries. They expected emotional reactions, but instead they faced a steady, unyielding presence. This emotional control was one of your greatest weapons proof that true power lies in mastering oneself before conquering others. Every blow, every harsh word, every attempt to break you was never wasted. You transformed each attack into strategic fuel that propelled you forward. This mindset turned pain into purpose, making adversity your greatest teacher and ally. Rather than reacting emotionally, you analyzed every strike with cold precision, asking what it revealed about your opponents and how you could use it to your advantage. This approach gave you the upper hand in a psychological battlefield where information was power. By converting every attack into insight and strength, you stayed steps ahead of those who sought to destroy you. True dominance isn't about confrontation. It's about invisibility. You mastered the art of being untouchable, a ghost moving unseen through a world desperate to trap you. Your power lay in subtlety, in the way you operated beneath the surface where others couldn't reach. Invisible dominance means controlling the narrative without speaking a word, influencing outcomes without drawing attention, and outlasting opponents without engaging in needless battles. You became a shadow, always present, never caught, a force they couldn't predict or control. This quiet power unsettled your enemies more than any loud defiance could. They were hunting a phantom, and that phantom was you. Untouchable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. Doubt and mockery were weapons aimed to weaken you, to erode your confidence. But you refused to let their sneers define your worth. Instead, you took every insult and every smirk as fuel to rise higher and prove them wrong. Mockery became your motivation. Every dismissive laugh pushed you to work harder, to think sharper, and to rise above the noise. You transformed negativity into a relentless drive that could not be extinguished. By crushing doubt with unwavering self-belief, you rewrote the story, from the target of ridicule to the embodiment of triumph. Your strength was proof that the fiercest critics often create the fiercest champions. Survival demands more than courage. It requires a mind sharpened by calculation, patience, and ruthless focus. You developed a mindset that balanced empathy with pragmatism, knowing when to wait and when to strike. Your patience was not weakness, but strategic waiting, a pause before decisive action. You learned to read people and situations with surgeon-like precision, assessing threats and opportunities alike. This tactical thinking allowed you to navigate complex, dangerous scenarios where impulsiveness could mean disaster. Your ruthlessness wasn't blind cruelty, but an unyielding commitment to survival. It was the cold, necessary edge that protected you from harm and ensured your victory. In this mind, every move was deliberate, every choice weighed, and every moment seized. In an investigation designed to provoke emotional breakdowns, your greatest weapon was emotional mastery. You controlled the tempest within, refusing to let fear, anger, or despair dictate your actions. This mastery was a silent power that disarmed your interrogators and unsettled your accusers. Emotional control allowed you to respond with clarity and strength, turning potential vulnerabilities into fortresses of defense. You knew that showing emotion could be used against you, so you harnessed your feelings, channeling them into calculated resilience. This self-command was devastatingly effective. It made you unpredictable and unassailable, a presence that could withstand any assault because your emotions were your allies, not your enemies. Their control was a cage built from fear, manipulation, and isolation. But cages are meant to be broken. You refuse to be a prisoner of their design. Every effort they made to contain you was met with a fierce will to escape, to reclaim your freedom. Breaking free wasn't a single act. It was a continuous process of dismantling their influence piece by piece. You found cracks in their system, moments of weakness, and exploited them relentlessly. Each breakthrough was a declaration that you would not be subdued. Your escape was more than physical. It was mental and emotional liberation. It was reclaiming your identity, your power, and your future on your terms, far beyond their reach. In the end, victory isn't about the battles won or lost. It's about rising above chaos and defining your own destiny. You emerged not just as a survivor, but as a conqueror, rewriting the narrative with every step you took beyond the storm. Your triumph is a testament to resilience, intelligence, and unbreakable will. It's proof that no matter how brutal the fight, the human spirit can rise, rebuild, and reclaim what was almost lost. This is your story of transformation, of rising from hunted to hunter, from victim to victor. You didn't just survive their darkest attempts, you shattered them, and in doing so, you showed the world what it means to be truly unstoppable. There comes a defining instant when everything familiar fades and you find yourself staring into the abyss, utterly alone and surrounded by enemies. It's a terrifying solitude that can crush the strongest spirits. In that moment, the weight of isolation is suffocating, and the mind races between despair and defiance. But it's also the moment when survival instincts ignite most fiercely. Being alone means there's no one to lean on, no safety net to catch you if you fall. It forces a reckoning with your deepest fears, the raw vulnerability you've spent a lifetime hiding. Yet, it also strips away distractions, sharpening your focus and forcing clarity in chaos. When you accept your solitude, you begin to forge your own path forward. The abyss, once a place of terror, becomes the forge for unbreakable strength and relentless resolve. Survival isn't luck, it's preparation. Every battle you face is won long before the first blow is struck. The ability to anticipate moves, predict outcomes, and stay several steps ahead is a skill honed through discipline and experience. When you prepare relentlessly, the chaos around you becomes less frightening and more manageable. Preparation means studying every detail, understanding the environment, reading people's intentions, and mapping out every possible scenario. It means training your mind to stay calm and agile, ready to pivot when the unexpected arises. When you prepare, uncertainty transforms from a paralyzing force into a puzzle you can solve. This strategic foresight changes everything. Instead of reacting to events, you orchestrate your responses with precision. It's the difference between being caught in a storm and directing the wind. Preparation arms you with confidence, giving you the courage to face anything without hesitation. Fear can be a prison, locking you into patterns of doubt and hesitation. But radical courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. It's embracing the trembling in your chest and the racing thoughts, and choosing to act anyway. This journey from fear to courage transforms you fundamentally, rewiring your mind for relentless strength. Radical courage means confronting the worst outcomes head-on, fully aware of the risks, but refusing to let them define your actions. It's a daily choice to stand tall when every instinct begs you to run. This courage is not reckless. It's fiercely deliberate, forged in moments of intense self